What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Life of a Sim Racer. My name is Brandon, and we have our normal sidekick, Brandon 6, driver of the number 66 Life of a Sim Racer Chevrolet. He's going to be with us tonight, along with special guest, Mr. Liam Sheen, driver of the number 92 Ford. Fortunately, he doesn't have a sponsor. Might have to help him out with that. But how are you guys doing tonight?
Oh, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Good. So our last race was Dover, and I would say it was a pretty good race for myself. How do you guys think it went overall?
It seemed okay. I mean, from a viewer standpoint, it looked alright to watch. I guess with the racing between Drew and Agnell, that was pretty good to watch. As far as my race went personally, not great, but yeah.
What about
Yeah, I
you?
mean,
Go ahead.
I say race I thought pretty good overall. Just had those early cautions, I think up until lap 40, and then I think we had like 150 or 160 lap green flag run, which was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I was too far back to make a big run towards anything, but I know there's a good battle with Andrew and Agnell up until an incident with them at some point.
Yeah, I mean, going back and looking at the race and the broadcast, we've had a 5 cautions, so not too bad. Of course, we'll go over those individually and break those down. But overall, I think it, for a short track for the most part, and then being with a setup that really didn't turn as good, and until you got to the long run, then it really seemed to really rotate. But I thought overall it was pretty good. It's kind of cool that you guys kind of all just about feel the same way. So we'll go ahead and dig into the individual self-assessments. So we will unfortunately have to start with our guest, Mr. Liam Sheen, as he did not have a good run, unfortunately. So tell us about your race and how it went down.
So my race, I'm pretty much kind of just like clicking off races just in case I end up winning a race, say like a Watkins Glen or Road America later down the road. So I'd be like playoff eligible, so I don't get bit by the start requirement. But honestly, tonight, or in this race, I guess, I was just thinking, okay, I'm just gonna start and park, not really spend too much time out there, maybe get a few spots from people wrecking early or something, then pull off. But I drove the car in practice. It was a little tight, and it eventually freed up. And when you're like on throttle, it was a little loose, so that was pretty fun to drive. So I was gonna stick it out, try to come from the back and go to the front, typical stuff. And so start off the race. Wasn't that bad of a start. I started driving up through the field a little bit. There's that wreck with I think Joseph Tice. He got hit or whatever, and he got stopped on the top of the track, and that was that. We get through that. Then we have a little bit of a run there. Middle of the race, or middle of that run. Start to go forward, move up like about 9 spots or so. And there's a wreck on the front stretch. Unfortunately, I was involved in it. I was streaming it on Discord, just streaming my POV to my friends in a Discord, just driving. And from what I was told, I hit the, I think it was the 27 car. I think it should be coming up here soon, but I think it was this 27 car that got hit, and He got bounced around into other cars or whatever, and he eventually came back down the track. I had to hit the brakes, tried to get out of the way, and I did hit him. Thought the damage wouldn't be that bad. Then I got hit from behind and looked at the replay, look at my RPMs. It's down like, I want to say 60 RPM or so. Don't have a rear end or anything, so that's pretty much night over. I was thinking, okay, might as well just do something else with my night. Didn't really want to run around, run slow, get in the way of the leaders, so I decided to just call it a day there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's super frustrating, especially this early in the run. I think it's unfortunately it is short track racing, so you kind of have to be mindful of the fact that it could happen, but of course you never wanted to happen, so it's, I don't know. I feel your pain though. Some of the pickup races that I've done recently, that's kind of how it was, just wrong place, wrong time, and what can you do, besides just, okay, well, like you said, go find something else. Go find something else to do with yourself that doesn't require you feeling bad because you got wrecked by some idiot or something like that. So, yeah, man, I definitely feel your pain on that one. And we'll definitely get a little bit more into that incident that you were involved in, and let you kind of break it down for us and give us your thoughts on that. So, where did you finish, Liam? I didn't even.
Wasn't great. I think it was like 34th or something.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah.
So I do have another question. So you said you were running part-time. Is there a reason why you've decided to run? 'Cause last year I believe you ran full-time. So was there a reason behind the switch to part-time?
Yeah, it was mainly just to focus on Road to Pro this year. Just want to, put as much effort to that as I can, so I could be as successful as I can be in that. Obviously, in winter, I put a lot of focus into that, and I was challenging for the title up until I had to miss a race with 2 to go. Yeah, me and Drew were pretty much neck and neck, pretty much whole season, kind of trading blows with finishes and stuff like that. So, I was thinking, I could either do this again for Cup, run a whole other year, or I could put that same focus I put into that into Road to Pro. And so far it's going well for that. But yeah, it's pretty much main reason. Also, this car, it's just like it takes a lot to like get adjusted to, get acclimated to, learning what how to drive it differently, because it is way different than like a B car or the Cup car from last year. The aero package, the tire, the amount of slip you can have in the car, so it's a lot different. I'd rather put that off, or put off learning the car until maybe a year down the line. Maybe if I feel like it, I'd come back next year full time. But yeah, I'd rather just get better in what I know I'm good with. And yeah, so I decided to just focus on Road to Pro, not really run Cup.
And how's the Road to Pro stuff going?
Pretty solid. I'm in the top 70 pretty comfortably. 2 races left in the round, so should be good on that end. Just got to get through the next 2 and I'll be in the second round. So
nice. Well, definitely congratulations on doing as good as you are. It's as one of the wrecks we'll go over is going on in the background. I tell you what, I think the second video I made had kind of just given a little bit of an insight of what it's like to go through Road to Pro, man, and it's you have to be with the right team. I know some people are able to solo it and kind of do it themselves if they can build the setups and have good results. In my opinion, some of that shit's just luck. But to be able to go, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. If I had to choose to go through it now, Road to Pro, or back in the day, Road to Pro, I definitely would stick with the back in the day Road to Pro, because I felt like it was more even across the board. compared to how it is now, I feel like there's a lot of games that get played in Road to Pro with people causing cautions and intentional wrecks and stuff like that to help your teammate get in. I felt like back in 2013, 2014, I really strongly didn't feel that there were any of those type of games. It was mainly just the big teams, and then you had the smaller teams, and you're just trying to make it. But now I feel for you because I feel like it's stronger. But like you told me earlier, but off the air, you said that you're with Nexus, so Nexus is a great team to be on, especially if you're going from Road to Pro. I think they've had somebody make it every year, give or take, or at least
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, I think there's always been at least one guy that made it into pro. As far as Coke goes, I'm not too sure on that, but as far as pro goes, there's usually at least one or two Nexus people in there every year. So, yeah.
Yeah, they've been strong. So keep doing what you're doing, man. It's sounds like you definitely got a shot at it. So hopefully it works out for you. So we're gonna move on to Mr. Six, who finished top 10, 8th, I believe, 7th,
Ninth.
9th. Oh damn, completely wrong. Sorry. So you finished 9th. So tell us how your race went and what your thoughts were.
Off the race pretty bad. I typically been used to qualifying somewhere in the top 10, top 5. Qualifying got super loose through 3 and 4. Basically almost wrecked it. I just had to bail out of the lap and get what I could get. And I qualified 20th, so middle of the pack. And basically it was just, unfortunately with the way Dover was, it was hard to pass. So the only way you can make passes, in my opinion, was on long runs. Once the tires kind of wore out, I was kind of just biding time, and we had those early cautions, and I think one of the ones we'll be looking at, I had a incident with the Borrow, and at the time in the car, I thought it was netcode or something, which it still was from what I could tell, but I mean it was really close racing. I got a nose underneath of him, and I think he started to come back down a little bit, thinking I wasn't quite there, and he got hooked. So, but I don't even think that actually officially caused the caution. I think there was a completely different incident behind what happened with us, and so it was kind of like two different incidents happening in that same lap. But car was still clean after that, and eventually we had once we got past the 5 or 6 cautions that we had about 150 lap green flag run to the end, and which was kind of in my wheelhouse. I was really good in the long run. I just unfortunately, I needed track position, I think, to maybe have a shot with Agnell and Andrew. Based off lap times, what I could tell when I had clean air, I was similar pace to them when I had it, but whenever I caught somebody, I knew I was behind Sam at one point for many laps, and I was just so aero tight behind him, I couldn't do a whole lot. After green flag pit stops, I remember, I think you and I did a unique strategy with just doing 2 tires to try and make up some track position. And mostly to try and get in front of some people that maybe were struggling to get past in the dirty air. So, but it sort of worked for me, but not really. It kind of made me severely loose towards the tail end of my run at the end of the race, and I'm not sure if you have a clip of it or not, but I know at the end of that race I went to try and make a pass for a 5th, and I just straight up lost it off of turn 4. Just no grip whatsoever. And then, of course, once I lost it, the tires were killed. I was barely hanging on to finish where I did, honestly. So,
Yeah,
but
unfortunately. Go ahead.
I'll still take a P9 still top 10, which is always my goal of top 10s. So it is what it is. I was super mad at myself at the time for especially wrecking it, but got to take chances.
That's completely understandable. You know, you've been, running so good every week, so I think this is one of your worst races in a while. So, unfortunately, I did not get that. That's actually one of the one things I was supposed to clip, man. I forgot to clip it. So, we'll specifically find it, and hopefully we can find it, and we can kind of showcase, what your save, and the fact that it didn't cause a caution is still mind-boggling. I don't even understand that. But yeah, so we'll get into that later on during your clips. But it's good. But basically, still good run. Top 10 finish is definitely a hard fought. Wow, that was hard to say. Top 10 finish is still good. You could be worse. You could have, got caught up in somebody else's mess and finished 20th or worse. So definitely take the top 10s, buddy. 'Cause you never know when it might be your last top 10.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I like you were just saying, this was my worst finish since Daytona, and Daytona I got wrecked. So
Yeah.
I can't complain with the way my season has started. So
No, I wish my season was just as hot as yours, but we'll hopefully turn the page. So from that, I guess I'll kind of go into mine. Mine actually started, I guess you can say last Thursday, or not just past Thursday, but the Thursday before the Dover race, where we decided to do what we would call a pickup race, or an NIS race. Going into that, I felt okay. I didn't feel 100% confident. I was just like, I'll qualify and then I'll fall back. And I qualified decently, and I was like, you know what? I didn't qualify too bad, so let me just try and see what I can do. So, to kind of make that long story short, I finished P2. So, that was definitely a confidence booster. So going into our league race, I felt pretty good. I felt like I could possibly win. Its strategy kind of fell my way. Unfortunately, all that week though is crazy hours of work, and still dealing with a 4-month-old child who's learning, and trying to make sure we get enough rest during the week. So that's all these challenges. Kind of always kind of play in my head and kind of make me think like, oh, maybe I don't really have the best, I guess, settings or whatever to run in the league, and maybe it's because I'm not getting enough sleep, or maybe because I got other things in my mind that I'm not focused. So, when Monday came around to do the league race, I really forced myself to kind of just go into the race clear-headed, not thinking about all these other distractions that's going on in my life. Well, not really distraction, but just stuff, that's going on. So, going into the starting off in practice, wasn't very good as well. I felt like I just couldn't get a handle. I just felt like something was really different. But I qualified top 10 or top 12, I believe, or something like that. And just focused on trying to save a little bit of tires, but at the same time still progress forward. That's one of the things that I learned, over the years, is trying not to burn up the tires, but you gotta make moves. You still gotta pass people, because for Dover, if you get stuck behind somebody, it's really, 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 really hard to pass. As you can see here, I'm basically forcing 3 wide, but it's just, I gotta go. Like, I can't stay behind you forever. Cause then I'm just gonna get too tight, and then by that point I don't have tires to pass you. So, then it just becomes a ring around a rosy type situation, which I didn't want to be in that at all. So, I make it up. Like I said, I make it up to third. I fought really, really hard with Sam, some other guys who really put on the challenge, but made it to third. And then before we had the pit, for some reason I started to really fall off. So I went from third to fifth, and I would think I was losing maybe a second a lap. Like, I knew something was wrong with the tires. I knew the tires were probably gone, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go ahead and pit. But like Six said early in our strategy, we had tried 2 tires. So I was like, all right, well, 2 tires it is. Came in, took 2 tires. I actually leapfrog Six and I believe Sam, who passed me, which put me back to third. But the problem was when I came out, I believe the leader was Andrew and Agno was second. But they were 4 seconds ahead of me, and at the time they hadn't pitted yet. Then I think they came down and pitted, and I knew at that point, like, they were gonna walk away from me. Like, there was nothing I was gonna be able to do. So I was just like, well, I'll just hold third. I thought I had it locked up. Sam is burrowing down on me like crazy, and I'm trying to hold him off. I think I had to fight him for at least 25-30 laps. I don't usually sweat in these races, but that one I definitely had to really sweat it out and try to focus and try to use some aero tactics to kind of keep him behind me, to keep him tight. But all in all, that was fun. Definitely one of my most fun races since, well, Daytona was pretty fun, but this is a different type of fun. So, yeah. So I'll take the P3. I think the idea of definitely clearing your head and trying not to have distractions going on and stuff like that, I think that really helped. Now the goal is going to see whether I can do that again for the next, I don't know how many races to the champion until the playoffs, because it's anybody who's parents or have kids or siblings or stuff like that, like especially younger siblings, it can always be a distraction, and when you're that invested in trying to be competitive, any little thing can throw you off. So hopefully this is a sign of things to come, and hopefully we can continue to get some good runs. But yeah, so I'll take my P3. So from here we're gonna move on over to the breakdowns of the cautions. So we're gonna backtrack a little bit because the video was going on. So this caution breakdown for this one is going to be lap 3, and I think Liam kind of talked about it earlier with Joseph Tice. So let's take a look at that. Alright, so again, this is going to be lap 3. We are riding along with Mr. Joseph Tice. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's really his connection or what exactly happened, but going into 4 here, he kind of gets the wiggles, tries to catch it, which is honestly is a hell of a save. But then, unfortunately, he gets tagged by the 46 car. Liam, what do you think, man?
So I think Joseph, with that, as far as Joseph goes, that's kind of like a racing deal. That'll happen, especially with cold tires with this car. You bobble once, like bobble too hard once with this car on cold tires, you're not really gonna catch it. But did a pretty decent job locking it down, getting it stopped and whatever, keeping it out of like traffic. He wasn't really in a racing line. Now, what I didn't understand was that I saw that happen in my mirror. He was stopped just as long as I was I saw him for. But yeah, typically what happens, you bobble once, can't really catch it, car gets too far out. But yeah, what I didn't get was like, I don't know why we're not slowing down more than that. That was mainly seeing that was mainly my point of ARCA braking. I don't see how that's really not even a thing with the car. It's just more just general awareness. I don't know how you not hit the brakes, especially when you have the caution's out. The caution's well out by now.
Yep.
I mean, I just don't know how you don't think to, hey, I'm not losing a spot now, and that it just doesn't really make sense to me. But that's just me.
6, what do you think, man?
Kind of on the same page. I mean, Joseph did a good job of honestly not collecting a crap load more cars in that, because I think he was in the top 10 when he spun out there, so he definitely could have collected a lot of people with him, but he did a good job staying out of everyone's way. But then the back of the pack here, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Like, I feel like the caution would have been out by now and should be well slowed down at this point. So not much to really say about it.
I guess you guys are right. I agree with you guys. I guess I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of what Liam was saying. I don't understand the late hit. I don't understand how you don't. Maybe you didn't see him sitting there. Okay, let's just say you don't see him. Okay, that's fine. But like Liam said, there was a caution already out. So, does the caution not mean slow down anymore? Does that just mean, hey, I still gotta go. I still gotta try and get the best result I can? You're not gonna pick up any more spots when the caution comes out. Caution's out now. It's been out. You're still almost full speed. So I don't know. I don't get it. I used to think that maybe it was a graphical thing, and maybe I don't know. Maybe some people can't see that far ahead. I remember back in NR 2003, that was one of the situations I used to always have. My computer was pretty much crap, and I had to turn the viewing distance pretty far down, so I couldn't see. For example, if we're at Talladega on the backstretch, I couldn't see into the corner. So if there was a car sitting there or anything like that, I wouldn't have been able to see it. So, usually I would be involved because of that. But I would think that in 2022, things would be a little bit different. Maybe they're not. I don't know. Or maybe the fact that he was still racing somebody at the bottom. I think that was Sean Kalis, who was the 43 car. Maybe he was so focused on maybe racing him that he didn't pay attention to what was going on in front of him. I don't know. But I don't know.
I guess with that, but it's also like, I don't know if it's just me, but like usually when I see a big thing that says pacing pop up on my screen, focus, kind of just relax a little bit,
Right.
Get off the throttle, you're just like, okay, caution's out, no more spots, doing a restart. But I just don't get it. I mean, like, we're going for an overtake when we were riding on board with them. I mean, we were trying to pass a 43 car above, gets loose, hits the wall. I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know. I mean, this is like, it's kind of like basic racing. I mean, I'm sure, we all like cause our own like little incidents, but like this kind of stuff is just like come on, like this is like carb cup kind of stuff. As a guy that as a guy that's racing in here, I mean, look how much room we have to the cars ahead. I mean, not just the car that stopped. Like, there's plenty of clean racetrack up the road. I mean, plenty of time to recognize the situation, slow down. The most you're gonna gain, even if you're gonna gain any spots, is one spot. So it's like, I don't know. It's just, I think he should know better. I think he apologized after the race in the Discord, but it's also just kind of like one of those things. It's like, Grady apologized, but it's just like it looks terrible. I
Yeah.
guess.
We've been harping on this video, so we're going to move on to the next one, which is unfortunately going to be not a good moment for Mr. Liam. But we're going to get into it. It is going to be lap 19, and I believe we're going to ride with Dylan Parker. So let's check it out. Alright, so again, this is going to be lap 19. We are riding along with Mr. Dylan Parker. I believe Dylan Parker. Yes, sorry. We are riding with Dylan Parker here. He's going to make, or attempt to make, a pass on 21 car. They touch again, and again and again. Couldn't get off of each other, and they basically sends the 21 of Cohan into the wall. Mr. Liam, what's your thoughts on it?
So from how I see it, it's kind of like one of those. It's one of those deals where it's like, kind of hard to. It's kind of hard to really like put a blame on Dylan for going for the pass because, it's racing. You'll have that. Dylan has the run, makes the move. Nick isn't on the inside of Schmidt there, and he isn't on the inside, so he doesn't really give him too much room. Just kind of puts him down there. So Dylan isn't backing out. He goes for the spot. He has the run. He takes it. Of course, at the bad arc into the corner, he's kind of entering on the first lane. It's not really a good thing you can do at Dover because of how you have to take the corner. What I didn't really understand was that that late ARCA break in there. I didn't get that. But mainly a part of it is that I didn't really understand is why that Cohan kept like turning down into him, trying to like I don't want to say make the wreck worse, but it's like you kind of it's one of those things. He kind of did it to himself. If that makes sense, he's kind of asking for it, crowding him down. I don't know why we're slamming each other. Kind of goes back to my comment I made in the Discord. I don't know why we're slamming each other, trying to collect as many cars as we can. Somewhat of the same thing there. Maybe that's more of just Dover coming down with how the tire is. He's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place there. He can't really do much, but yeah, it's touched, comes down, bam, bam, I get hit, and then the hit by Kevin, and then the hit by that. That's what I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So, the ARCA break comment from that wreck was more towards Shane. I didn't really wanted to call out a driver, so I didn't. I just kind of left it vague. So my race was, I did hit DeBarro. So wasn't like I was gonna get away scot-free out of that wreck. I was gonna have some damage to fix, but I've gotten damage on the right front before. It'll hurt the car, but I was thinking, okay, well, I can just get it fixed. I'll be good to go. Then I got hit from behind that destroyed my rear end, and race over from there. So that's the frustrating part. You think you'll be okay through it, and you just get totaled for no reason.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention to the people listening, there's two wrecks technically happening at the same time. The initial caution was for Dylan Parker and Nick Cohen, and then as you watch the video a little bit more, there's an incident between Six and DeBarro, which Cohen and DeBarro's cars always look similar. They always get me confused. So while technically the first incident, or the initial incident, it seemed maybe there was some frustration, so maybe that's why Nick was turning back to the left. But honestly, I just think he was just trying to save it. And I mean, we all know once that car gets yawed like that, like it's hard to put that wheel back and kind of get it away from somebody. It's gonna tank slap the car on the bottom. So, but again, at the same time, maybe there was some frustration and he was mad. So maybe that's maybe why he didn't attempt to really try that hard. Maybe he was kind of expecting like, okay, like the guy, like Dylan's gonna actually back off, but he didn't. So I'm not sure. Maybe that was some frustration, since, like I said, since Nick has not been able to finish good at all this season. I believe he's been wrecked every race this year so far. So it has definitely been a bad season for him so far. Hopefully that turns around for him. He's a pretty good racer. And then the situation with 6 and the Burrow, that situation seemed, it does look like a little bit of net code, and it does look like 6 got in the throttle a little bit, because the Burrow did leave a small hole, and then the Burrow did come down a little bit, which created the contact. But it does kind of look like there's maybe a little bit of net code where there's actually not physical contact. That one's a little bit more hard to tell. But I guess it's time to get 6's opinion. So 6, what do you think, my man?
The Parker Cohan incident. At first, I thought it was just Parker, but then, looking at it with the way both their entries are, Nick being in the middle, which then kind of forced Parker to have that really shallow entry. That explains why Parker had that push-up. But, I mean, Parker also had to be expecting it as well. I mean, usually when you get that shallow, you tend to push up, no matter what the track is. Especially carrying that kind of speed. But my incident with the Burrow, I mean, he had this like high arc on entry, and I had a tendency to just roll bottom, and that's where I was beating most people all night. And I got underneath of him, and then as soon as I realized he was starting to cut back down in front of me, like I almost wasn't quite there, I started to try and lift out of it, but like I said, it was kind of too late. And like I said, the net code, and then when I was in car, it kind of felt like net code, because I was like, it didn't feel like an actual like car to car touch. And when I saw it in replay, it's net code. I mean, it's not a ton. I mean, but it's enough that, like, if there was typically none, I mean, we probably don't wreck there, because I probably get out of it quick enough that he could still get back down, and we continue on. But it's just unfortunately he left too big of a opening there for me, and like I said, the way I was hooking the bottom, and it was there. So
yeah,
but,
I think he would probably agree that, it looked like one of those just possible racing deals, and it's just, unfortunately, when it's this damn hard to patch, you can't leave the bottom open like that. You just can't. And, especially if you know somebody's gonna probably take it, you kind of got to give it a little bit more space. But but again, I think these two were, I wouldn't say racing incidents. I think 6, your situation was a little bit more race incident than the Nick Cohen and Parker thing. Again, it's hard for me to know for sure, but that just looked like that was more of just, like you guys said, he entered shallow and didn't fully commit, to staying on the bottom, and he washed up and tagged Cohen, and that's kind of where it all started. So
that one definitely is on Parker, but I can understand why that situation happened. Where Liam was talking about with Shane coming in super late and hitting him, like, you had a wreck once in front of you, so you're already slowing down, and it's like you see another wreck in front of you, and you're still like sort of carrying throttle. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really gotta start using our brains. Like, the caution's out. Just slow down. Just slow down, man. But Liam, was there anything else you wanted to say on that aspect of? Because I know you were involved in that, and I know there was a lot of back and forth on Discord between you and Kevin. Was there anything else that you wanted to get off your chest or anything like that before we move on to the next one?
So, I guess, like, well, first and foremost, I don't want really any animosity
Yeah.
between it within all this. I mean, I wasn't more upset with that. You know, that's just kind of one of those things where, you know, that happens. So I made a vague Arca break comment, and I don't know if Kevin thought I was talking about his hit. But I never said he Arca braked me. I never said Kevin, you know, came barreling off in there. I did say there was space between us, you know, and I did get hit by him. But that wasn't the main Arca break I was talking. Well, shouldn't say that. That wasn't the Arca break I was talking about. I was more talking about when Shane came flying off in there. I mean, we're behind a wreck that happens. You know, they're wrecking under you, and then we gassed it up here. But you know, after he gasses it up, he never really slows down, and then comes flying off in there. And that's mainly what I was upset about. Was, you know, I went from, you know, a little bit of damage, kind of like same thing with Joseph. You know, went from a little bit of damage. I mean, I was gonna get in that wreck either way. It's a really bad spot for a wreck to happen, like off the corner at Dover. Can't really swerve up because it's a next gen car. If you swerve up too hard, you'll upset the car.
Yep.
So I was kind of stuck there. Tried to miss it. Tried to get as low as I could. Got as low as I could. Pretty much got whatever damage I was gonna get from it. I had to guess, probably would have been maybe 45, maybe 50 seconds of damage. You know, fixable. You know, caution or two. I'm back in the race or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I go from that to you know, full RPMs. That's what I kind of like. I didn't really roll too far because, you know, I have to roll forward to get, you know, straightened out, get going back in the race. Can't really just stop there in the middle of the track. But yeah, I did roll forward a little bit, but that's because I have to get it pointed forward again. Yeah, my RPMs are fine there, and then, you know, I get hit super, super late, and you know, go from 2,000 RPM to 1940 or something like that, and that's a ton.
Yeah.
That's like 5 miles an hour down straightaways. You know, I'm pretty much raced on. Coupled with the diffuser damage and losing the rear end, I mean, you know, no point in being out there. So that's what I was mainly like frustrated with. But you know, it's just you know, again, you gotta kind of point the finger back at yourself, because, you know, you're back. Yeah, I did put myself back there. I didn't put down a queue time, so it was kind of on me for being back with the squirrels. But it's also like, I mean, that's just a bit egregious. So that's what I was mainly upset about, that Arca break. I guess Kevin took that hit as you know, me saying, or me calling him out. But you know, I got hit by him, and then I got hit by Shane super late, race over. About all I have to say. I mean, I guess if I had to say something on it, just more like, you know, we should know better. I think Shane knows better than to do that. It's just like, you just got to do better, because, like, we're all here, we're all trying to have a good time, we're all spending our night on the same thing.
Yep.
I think we all should, you know, I guess take care of each other better. But as I think it was Sam that made up the point. I mean, you know, last year we had the same conversation, the same time of the year. I think it was Matt last year that brought it up. This year it was Bradley and Grant. I think the year before it was I forgot who it was. I think it was Jonathan Cadell.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like we have the same conversation every year. A few drivers change around, other than that, same basic conversation. We gotta give and take care of ourselves better. Um, and we'd have better racing, but that's just we all know better than that, than to do this kind of stuff. It's just like, what are we doing? I mean, it's lap 20 of a 200 lap race. We have a super long amount of race left, and we're doing this kind of stuff on lap 19.
Yeah.
Doesn't really make sense to me.
I'm with you, my man. I'm definitely with you on that. Hopefully, hopefully things change. I mean, I feel like it's going in the right direction. So hopefully, well, Darlington is next, so maybe not. Maybe not. We'll get into that later on, but yeah, Darlington. All right. So moving on, the next one is going to be lap number 23. With who is that with actually? Chris, our teammate. Oh yeah, this wasn't a good one. Let's take a look at it. Alright, so again, this is going to be lap 23 with our teammate, Chris Rabel. So they're coming off a restart. It almost looks like Danson kind of had to lift a little bit so he wouldn't hit the wall. Chris was still on the throttle. I mean, it's like the lightest of taps, but the car is so free coming off turn 2, coming up over the hill. The car is free. Any little tap is gonna make you lose. Unfortunate incident. But what are your thoughts?
So it just looked like Matt was taking the corner, and then when he got hit by Chris, it just got to the car has a point of no return, and when he got hit, it instantly put it to that point. You see Chris here, he's taking a wider center, kind of misses the bottom a little bit, comes up. It's about all you can say about that. Just, it happens. We all do it. I've had my fair share of incidents where something like that happens. Just one of them deals. I think Matt came back to finish decent, so I mean, wasn't night over, but just one of them things. It happens.
Yeah, it's definitely a racing deal, and definitely something you see in the real world with drivers in those kind of situations. Like, I think Chris was trying to slide up behind Danson because typically you kind of get a pretty strong run there on that top side off of 2, but I guess Danson maybe had to check up a little bit. It got tight, or maybe starting to get free. Whatever it was, they just met, and typical racing deal. Unfortunately, I know Chris in Discord at that time was like super upset with that whole situation.
Yeah,
Apologized many times to Danson.
Yeah, he definitely was, and that to me, and no, I'm not just saying this because he's my teammate, but that right there is what I believe you should do. If you have your microphone set up. I know 6. I know you don't in the race 4, so you don't rage, but automatically Chris knew it was his fault. Immediately got on the radio, like they even called it on the broadcast. He immediately got on the radio and said that was my fault, my bad. I was trying to slide up behind you, or whatever the case might be, and hope that he accepts your apology. At the end of the day, just so people don't know, they don't have to accept your apology. Dancer could have came back and dumped you, and only thing you can say, well, I did wreck him, so got my payback. So this is one of the things where I say, hey, the incident did happen, but I feel like there was mutual respect. Danson probably was a little upset, a little irritated about the situation because, again, this was lap 23, so it's still very early in the race. He's already got damage. Now he did come back to finish, I believe, top 10, so which is pretty damn good for having a damaged car. But he's probably like, damn, I probably could have had a better finish if I didn't have the damage. So this one was pretty cut and dry, but I felt like it was important to show that yeah, stuff happens, and when stuff happens, you know, especially if you know for sure that it was your fault or whatever the case might be, speak on it, which he did. And like I said, I'm to my knowledge, Danson didn't have any, you know, any feelings of trying to come back and intentionally wreck him or anything like that. You know, it was more like you're frustrated, shit happens, and you know, try to come back from it, which he did. Um, so moving on. So lap number 42. Two drivers that were already caught up in something get into it again. So this one should be interesting. Let's go take a look. All right, so my mistake. This is lap 42, but this is the incident where actually the 19 is on, or basically side by side to an extent. I came up a tiny bit. Now I don't know if there was netcode and it pushed him up, or if he just moved up because you know I was moving up as well. So I, you know, at that point during the race, I didn't even know if I tagged him or not. I never got any car contact. I never felt anything. But when I went back and watched the replay or watched the broadcast, I did apologize in our what's called Discord. Just to kind of say, hey, look, like, you know, nothing intentional. I wasn't trying to move you up there or anything like that. Whether we touched or not, I just wanted to, you know, make that aware. So, but this was an interesting wreck because the 19 bounces off the wall really really hard. Like it's almost like he touched the wall and it just plucked his ass to the left. It was just weird. But that's not what we're actually focusing on. We are focusing on Mr. Chris Edwards not seeing the wreck. I'm gonna say, but I'll let you go ahead and speak on that, Mr. Liam. What do you think?
So, well, first and foremost, the wreck between, or the contact between you and Eric. I know this car's kind of goofy with the net code with it. I guess when you hit the wall, I mean it shot him. I mean that doesn't happen in real life. You don't get catapulted off the wall like that. But
Right.
yeah. This is coming off a week of Talladega where there's a bunch of weird stuff going on with the cars. Cars are getting shot backwards from a bump draft or whatever, which is pretty strange. Cars are getting, you know, slingshot forward. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of weird aero stuff with the car. I think they put up an update after this race. I'm not sure when it was, but hopefully it'll fix that. But yeah, hits the wall, into traffic, hits Will, hits, I think that's Chris.
Yeah, it took Chris. It took both of them out, unfortunately.
But this, like, I guess it's just general thing with ARCA braking. I mean, I don't know why. So if we go back to Chris, you know, we see Eric. It's the wall. That's that. Ouch. But if we go back to Chris's onboard, I mean, this is something I just don't understand. With 72. But yeah, I don't get why. So there's 3 lanes of open track where everyone's going to. Cars are slowing up. You know, there's a wreck. There's smoke. Clear as day. Car spins. It's in the air. I mean, there's no way you can't see it.
Right.
Cars are slowing up. You know, we're almost hitting them as we're blowing by them. And now we got 3 lanes of open track up high, and maybe half a car between 2 wrecked cars sat on the apron. I don't know why instead of picking the 3 open lanes of racetrack, as we can see right here, you know, we're picking a gap that isn't there, and we're destroying 2 more cars. There's still open track that we can go to, and we're still not hitting it. Even when we're blowing by all these cars. I don't know why we're going to that. I mean, I don't want to harp on the guy, but it's like that's a bit that's just egregious. I don't know how you really shake that to be I guess more positive, because that's just really bad.
And you see him hit the brakes. You can see the tire mark. So he's on the brakes, but why you didn't hit the brakes until after you passed Sean Castro, who was on the bottom, and unfortunately I can't remember the car that was up high, but you went around both of them and then hit the brakes. Where are you going when there's a caution? The caution was already out.
Oh, it's well out.
Like, you're not gonna make up the spots. They're not gonna give you anything. That caution comes out, it's 9 times out of 10 that field is frozen. Every now and then it might bug up and you might be able to pick up a couple spots. But other than that, when the caution comes out, just get on the brakes. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's also like it's lap, what is it? Lap 47, 48?
Lap 42.
42, okay, so it's even worse. It's lap 42, we're not even a quarter of the way through the race. I don't get it. I just don't. It doesn't make sense any way you kind of skew it. Even then, if you're, I mean, we're to begin with, we're already well back in traffic behind a bunch of damaged cars. I mean, I don't know what that's gonna do besides just kind of maybe get you a couple spots in the restart, but even then, everyone's pitting, so it doesn't really matter to begin with.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're slowing up, and then he slams on the brakes, car hits rails, because, you know, that's how the brakes of this car work. You know, you stab him too hard, you're gonna hit rails and go straight.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't really want to harp on the guy, but it's also like, there's got to be something more done to kind of weed out the, I guess, for just kind of weed out this kind of stuff from happening, because unfortunately this isn't really something that's new with this like kind of, you know, with this kind of like area of drivers. Like, you know, there'd be a wreck and people just plow right into it, kind of like that. It just doesn't really make sense to me why we're why that's allowed. I just don't get it. It's kind of like in other leagues such as like FTF, when there's a car that flies into a wreck, sort of like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing called actions detrimental to common sense, and you know that's like it's a couple of race. I think it's a race suspension plus you have to start the race 2 laps down, can't get the wave around until halfway. It's a hefty penalty, and I don't get why that's just kind of like, oh well, the wreck wasn't caused by him, so no penalty. You know, if you plow in there, you plow in there. That's that. You know, see you next week.
Right.
It just doesn't really. I don't know. I think the wreck should be looked at more in depth than what they're being looked into, because these ARCA breaks and, you know, this kind of stuff, it's just like, it's kind of unacceptable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this one was definitely pretty bad. Like I don't understand how you blow by 2 people. First off, you blow by 1, your immediate thought is like, okay, maybe there's a wreck happening. You should check up at least a little bit. But then you blow by the second person, you're just at that point it's too late. And I'm sure by the time he passed Sean, I'm probably sure the caution came out at that point. So you blew by, it looks like Cal Kamer, and the caution's well out at this point. Like, what are you doing? So, I mean, you're killing a guy that's already dead.
Insult to injury.
Yeah.
Just make things worse. But,
I mean, you basically, I think he might have had damage, but like he basically destroyed his own race for no reason.
Yeah, I think I say if he checks up, you know, even if he did pass Sean, you know, you still have plenty of time to check up. And I think one of the things that, and I'll say this and then we'll move on, I think one of the things that people don't do is people rely just on the brakes. You can't, especially when you need to slow down quickly, you can't just rely on the brakes. Downshift. Use the engine to slow yourself down. If you just get on the brakes, like Liam said, once you're hard on the brakes, you're sliding. That's what it's going to do. No matter how fresh your tires are, it's going to slide. So you're going to need to downshift. You're going to need to really slow yourself down. And you need to be looking, is how they go back to basic racing. You need to be looking ahead, not at your hood. I don't know if that's how you race or anything like that. Like I said, I don't want to, I don't know the guy personally. But if you're not looking ahead, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, on your comment with the brakes, I mean, the other thing is too, we know with this next gen car, if you don't have heat in the brakes, you definitely ain't stopping.
That's another key point as well. Yes, heat in the brakes is definitely needed. But with that, as we see, that's not gonna, because that wouldn't have saved him either way.
Yeah, I mean, like, the car's not gonna stop that good. I mean, that's a good thing about the next gen. That's what I like about it.
Yeah.
Is the fact that the brakes are way more realistic. In iRacing with the Gen 6, the brakes were way too good.
Oh yeah.
Cars don't stop like that in real life, but with this car, I mean, there's more skill to braking, which is why road courses are, in my opinion, are much more enjoyable. There's more skill to it. There's more of a finesse to the braking, but
which none of us have found out yet, so you need to tell us your little tricks, because look, we're not even gonna get into that. We gotta talk about that off air. Need to figure out what you and Danton are doing, because you guys are on a whole nother. You, Danton, I'm sorry, and Cody are on a whole nother level. But like I said, we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. Sorry, go ahead. You finish your thought.
So, like, I guess to wrap it up, I mean, like, we have like I've seen the list of people that are on the wait list, and there's a bunch of good drivers that they're waiting to get in the league. They're waiting, half a year. I mean, there's some people that probably forgot they signed up for the league because the wait list has been that long. I mean,
yeah.
I've had some people like people like what's his face like there's some people with like 6K 7K iRating that signed up about, I want to say, July last year, that have been waiting to get in the league. They've kept going on the wait list. They've been waiting, and they just never got on because not enough people get cleared out. The thing is, like, we have stuff like this, like people like this, like Chris. They show up every race, and that's good on them, but they just don't I guess put in the practice needed to be aware of stuff like this. I mean, this is kind of just common sense. Like, caution's out, smoke, you see a car flipping in the air, you don't come flying off in there and then hit the brakes last second when you see cars in front of you. But
yeah,
I don't know. There's, in my opinion, there has to be more, I guess, quality control, because we have a lot of participation. We have a lot of people that want to be an RSR, but it's also at the same point, on the same coin, it's just like, why are we have these guys that are running back here and then just flying into wrecks like this, when we could have, like, people challenging for wins, more challengers to, like you, Brandon, Freenaj, Eberhard, those people. We have people that could be challenging those guys, and we have stuff like this happening. It's just like stuff that doesn't need to be happening. So I don't know. In my opinion, I would like to see a little bit more quality control, where we could have more competitive races, and in turn lead to more clean races, more respectful racing. That's just my thoughts on it, though.
Respectful thoughts at that. Thank you, sir. Alright, so we are going to move on to the next one, which is lap 61. And this is the one I was actually talking about, where these two have already been connected, and they got connected again. This one is just as bad. Let's take a look. Alright, so again, we are on lap 61. We are going to ride along with, guess who? Dylan Parker and Nick Cohan again. As Dylan Parker is tight, hits the wall, takes out Nick Cohan, and they both go spinning on the bottom. Unfortunately, it takes out our teammate Brian Shameless in the aftermath. Yeah, I don't even know anymore. Go, go ahead, Liam. What are your thoughts, man?
I think it's kind of clear. I mean, Nick is running the line. He's giving him room. Dylan just gets tied up top, hits the wall, comes down. It's the guy he hit earlier. And, yeah, just, I guess for Nick, it's just, I guess one of those things where it just sucks to suck sometimes. You know, at that point, you just gotta sit there and laugh because you can't really make that kind of stuff up.
Yeah.
Twice in one race, I mean, that's just pretty bad. Yeah, so, yeah, Nick leaves him room, more than enough room, actually. Leaves him about half a car between them, so it's not like he really even crowded him up there. But yeah, Nick gets down, tries to leave him room, and Dylan hits the wall. Reckon, to Dylan's credit, he tried to throw it back to the inside wall to not hit anyone, but, you know, when he hit the wall, it kind of bounced him back up, which kind of, you know, you're at the mercy of luck there. But yeah, not really much else to say about it. Just sucks for Nick. 8 races, I think it is now, and he's been wrecked in every single one of them. And you know, sometimes you gotta say, okay, maybe it's some of his doing, but like, I can't really name an instance where it was his doing. So it's kind of like, just been wrecked, terrible luck every race. Just been wrecked week in, week out. Just sucks.
Yeah. I wouldn't wish this type of luck on my worst competitor, on my most enemy. I mean, 'cause this is just, it's hard. It's hard to continue to watch somebody that actually is pretty good. Could probably go out there and win a race, but he keeps getting caught in shit. So it's frustrating. I would be super. I mean, if I'm him, I'm livid, son. Like, I don't even know what else to say.
I mean, if you look at it in a weird way, I mean, he is lucky. He's just lucky in a bad way.
Yeah, lucky to get wrecked every damn race. Yeah. Jeez.
Pretty much.
He gets more free time every night than the rest of us, I guess. But
True that.
yeah, I mean, it's got to be frustrating because like we all paid a decent amount of money to get to race every weekend. I don't know, for this to be the story every race. I mean, at a certain point, I mean, I think it's kind of like, you know, I wouldn't say everyone has like a certain amount of like, or a certain place they should be running every week, but I think where Nick is running, you know, it's about where his speed would show. It's fair to say. And unfortunately, this is where stuff like this happens. I mean, he's running, I think he was around 15th or so when this happened. You know, it's not a bad points day, and, you know, stuff like this happens, and it's just like, damn, when is it going to go right for him? So it's just, you know, you think he would eventually get some spots on attrition, and anytime he's in, like, a good points-paying spot, like 7th, 8th, it's always something that goes wrong, whether it's someone flipping in front of him or this kind of stuff happening here. It's just, it sucks. I've been in this position before where you just have bad luck every race, race after race after race. You're just wondering when it's going to go right.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll turn around at a certain point. Hopefully this is the end of the bad races for him, but you can never say for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully it turns around soon, Nick. If you're listening, we'll hopefully send you some good mojo, man. Just so you can finish a damn race.
Oh, prayers go to you.
But alright, so moving on. So from here, actually we had a long stretch. Had some green flag pit stops, and it wasn't a caution, but it was definitely interesting. So this next one happened on lap 152. Agno Michael Johnson, Andrew, and Six all are pitting on lap 152 or around that lap, and some stuff happens. Again, this changes the lead for the win. So let's go take a look at it. Alright, we are back for the last clip. Again, this is going to be lap 152. Agno is the leader, and Andrew is chasing him. And then Michael Johnson was right in front of Agno, and then Six, I believe at this point, was already on pit road, so he was getting his tires and fuel and everything like that. So as you can see, Andrew's gonna really push it hard to try and make up some time, which he did. Made up quite a bit of time, and basically, I'm not sure why Michael Johnson was maybe going a little bit slower. So, which I guess is the reason why Agno had went to the inside. But because of that, MJ needed to slow down because he needed to get to his pit stall. Agno was there. MJ hits Agno a little bit, gives him a little bit of damage, but that also helps Andrew catch up. So, as you're seeing both of these guys pit, you notice that Andrew's pit crew is moving a little bit faster than the leader, which is Agno, which allows Andrew to get out the box side by side with him. And because Agno stayed on the bottom, Andrew powered around them and set sail. So we're gonna start with Liam. Did you see? I guess, what are your thoughts? Do you blame anybody, or what do you got?
So, how I see it is that if I had to point blame, I would say it's on Michael, because while yes, Agnell could have ducked down to the stalls, there is a pit stall rule that is sometimes enforced, sometimes it isn't.
Right.
Which is what I don't understand. I guess in Agnell's sense, he's racing for the win. You're trying to avoid any penalty that you can get. You can't go down, cut all the stalls, get time or whatever. So it's just like, he's doing what he can. He's racing for the win. He's on edge. He's trying to take it careful, be safe and everything. Michael is rolling slow on pit road. Brandon is never on his inside if Michael rolls pit road speed. Michael's clear of Brandon. If he doesn't, go slow down pit road. I mean, not only he enters kind of, I can get entering, you're kind of out of the race for the win. So, you would enter a little bit more conservatively. You got nothing to push for. You're just kind of riding it up, counting off the laps, getting to the end of the race, finish it. What I don't get is why, you got the leaders right behind you. I would think that you're trying to get to your stall as quick as you can, try to stay out of the race for the win, and battle it out how it is. But yeah, Agnell never gets there. It's never a problem if Michael just rolls the pit road speed. I mean, that's a pretty egregious speed difference between those two. I mean, Agnell closes up about 3-4 car lengths on Michael, so it's kind of like, Michael's well clear of Brandon if Michael rolls the right speed. So
yeah,
in my opinion, it's on Michael. It's kind of, it's the job of the faster car to get by him, but that's not really one of those instances where the faster car can really do anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's my take on it.
Six.
I'm gonna be honest. I know during the race, I didn't know I was even remotely close to this whole incident. Because
you do now.
Well, I think it was after the fact when I saw it was something that happened when I went back and watched the broadcast, and I noticed my car was there along with Sam because I pitted the same lap as Sam because I was battling him and I was trying to get in front of him. And of course, you can see both Sam and I are getting out, and I'm trying to get to Sam's outside if I can and try and charge him. But yeah, had no indication that these guys were even behind me when I left pit road. So, yeah, I will say, I guess it is kind of strange. MJ was like going at least another mile an hour or two, maybe even slower than that. But I'll say typically, anytime we're always on pit road, we're usually pushing as hard as we can possibly get. So it's not too often you see that. So
Yeah, the only thing I was thinking is maybe, and sorry, just real quick, this part is actually, in my opinion, what killed Agnell's chance to catch Drew, because there was basically a car pitting. I can't remember who it was. Maybe the two, maybe I could be wrong. But anyway, but basically he was trying to go to the low side, but so was the guy that was trying to pit in front of him. So because of that, it actually checked up Agnell even more, which allowed, I think Andrew pulled about half a second to a second that lap alone, and that's basically what. If Agnell had any chance of catching him, I think maybe if there was some draft, maybe he could have held on to it. But I believe once that situation happened, it was, it was over. But back to the situation on pit road, I think the only thing I can think of is MJ is focused on trying to find his pit stall, because that's what it almost looks like, because how late he turned in. Like, oh shit, there's my pit stall there. Like, he maybe didn't get a chance to know where it was early in the race, which is a possibility. I mean, sometimes we have that, but we usually do have crew chiefs that or spotters that will count us down. So I don't know for sure. I mean, I haven't talked to him about it or anything like that. But unfortunately, I would have to agree, if it wasn't for MJ going below the speed limit, and maybe, or more than likely, Agnell, I don't know if he holds on to win, but I would say it would have probably been a lot closer between Agnell and Andrew on who would have actually won that race. But so that's pretty much it for the clips. I did not do a last lap clip because Andrew won by a boatload. Well, not really a boatload. Andrew won by 4 seconds. So, I mean, there's no point of watching basically one car go around for one lap. That's kind of pointless. So, so congratulations to Andrew. He gets his first win of the season, of the year. It sounds like he's finally found something on certain tracks. I did talk to him. He was not looking forward to Darlington at all. Like I said, which we'll get into that. But so that's pretty much it. So I guess we're going to move on, and let's take a look at the final results of the race. So let's take a look. Alright, so we are looking at the results from Dover. So I'm not going to go through all the results, but I am going to just talk about some of the highlights. As I said, Andrew gets his first win of the year, so congratulations to him. Unfortunately, Agnell was not able to overcome the pit road situation, so he finished second. I gratefully finished P3, and I will definitely take that from starting 12th. Sam, who finished 4th, great battle between me and him. Basically, halfway through the race, me and him battled our hearts out to try. First one to finish 3rd. That was what it felt like. Tom Wetmore was hard as hell to pass. I don't know why, but congratulations on becoming the new Ryan Newman of the league, I guess. Good job for Bradley Burke. Kevin King had damage. He still came back and finished 7th. Our championship leader, Cody Harris, finishes 8th. We didn't get to really show it, but there was an incident with Mr. Six. Got loose as he was, I believe, battling for 5th. And got loose, slammed on brakes, trying not to wreck. He did not wreck. No caution came out either. And Cody Harris passed him. So Mr. Six's goal of trying to beat Cody Harris to get the championship lead will have to wait for another race. And the top 10, Matt Danson comes back to finish 10th after getting caught in a wreck earlier. So I'm not going to name them all or go through the whole thing, but for any one of you guys, I guess I'll start with Liam. Is there anybody that stands out, whether it's bad or good, for Dover for that race?
Yeah, Kyle Kamer got a top 15. Ross is keeping up his consistent season. He's still he knocks out a 16th. Thomas George, he's been super consistent all year. You know, he just stayed out of stuff. You know, giving him good points finishes, so shows why he's as high as he is in points. Bad luck for Lariah. You know, he hasn't had that great of a year. He's had the speed, but he just hasn't had the luck. Same with, well, actually, Grant got a good finish. He got 11th. That's pretty, really good run for him. He almost won, I think it was Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Without a nose, so he's had a pretty good year so far. But yeah, other than that, nothing really to note. It's kind of makes you wonder when Andrew's ever going to fix his decals, because he's throwing away free points, but I guess now it doesn't really matter. But yeah, he got the bonus point and then just lost it, so...
Hey, broke even. That's probably what he cares most about. Hey, I broke even, so I'm good. But yeah, that's a good point. When is he gonna put those logos on? But yeah, 6. Anything that pops up at you for the results?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Grant Davis is the one that stands out to me. He'll start 29th and finished 11th. So a really good race for him, and yeah, Thomas George was another one. He didn't get the result I guess he won it, but I know there was a couple times during that race where I think I was behind him or getting ready to pass him or whatever, and he had decent speed, just didn't have the result. Not sure if he got caught up in one of those many wrecks. But yeah, I'd say those two stuck out to me during the race. For the most part, everybody else I kind of expected, at least the guys I was racing around with.
Okay. All right, so let's see if we can pull up the standings. Let's take a look. Okay, so after I finally figured out what the hell I was doing wrong, finally got the standings up. And this is something we're gonna probably be doing every week now, just to kind of show you guys the movement from the standings. I will let you guys know I am attempting to try and figure out how to do a power ranking for the drivers. That way we can really see our comers and goers out of the top 10. It's top 10 as far as who's doing good and who's doing bad, not necessarily top 10 in the standings. But I don't know when that's coming. Just know that there's some stuff going on behind the scenes to kind of get that for you guys. So just looking at the standings, as I stated earlier, 6 is still trying to chase Cody Harris, as he's now 5 points behind. I am basically a full race behind Cody Harris and Brandon 6. I've definitely got to get my shit together if I want to kind of throw my hat in the mix for there. Our teammate Nick Silver is still holding on to 4th. Connor Horn, who I don't think he had that good of a race. He finished 24th, 4 laps down, so not the best results, but Jesus, he has 17 incidents per race. That's pretty crappy. That's pretty bad.
I mean, I see a lot of double-digit incidents on this list. So.
Yeah. But in the top 5, having 17, kind of like, whew. Yeah, that's a lot. But Kevin King got his win at Talladega, so and even getting a little, some damage in that race, he still managed to pick up a spot. Andrew, of course, wins. He picks up 3 spots, so I expect him to continue the trend in the right direction of coming toward the top 5. Bradley Burke, as I stated, had a good run. He finishes, or not finishes, but he moved up to 8th. Unfortunately, Michael Johnson got into an incident. I believe he ran to the back of Chris Rabel with the incident with Danson and gave him some front end damage, so he kind of struggled the whole rest of the race. We talked about Thomas George. We felt like he didn't have the result that he needed. But that's basically the top 10. I'm not going to go, like I said, into the whole thing. Just focusing really on the top 10. Will be interesting to see if Timothy Johnson continues to move forward along with Sean Casto, who lost 2. Chris Rabel lost 1. Tom Nieto plus 5. That was definitely a great move for him. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the standings shake up. We're getting to the point where a lot of these guys are starting to really get their hands around the car. So, it'll be interesting to see if some of those guys, like Agno, if he finally gets a win. Chris Rabel continues to move along with Sean Casto. Maybe we get a surprise winner. Michael Lorai, who's been kind of falling. Maybe he gets, some good mojo and grabs a win. So, who knows? But, those are the standings. So, the next race we got is Darlington. And for me, burn it down. We don't need to run Darlington. No, just kidding. It's setup, and unfortunately, that's been provided for Darlington for the race. It's not the easiest thing to drive. I love a challenge, but some of the things that you have to do, like shifting in 3 and 4, not really something I kind of expected. So, I'm gonna ask Liam. You got Darlington coming up. You stated that you are a part-timer. Are you running Darlington?
Probably not. That's probably gonna be my last race. I'm gonna take off if I wanna somehow sneak a win at a road course. I only get 1 more race I can miss before I'm at my 5. So that'll probably be my 5th one. So I'm probably gonna skip that. I haven't done any practice for it. And hearing you have to shift midway through 3 and 4, it doesn't sound fun. So, and I don't really have the patience to learn it, but I'm probably gonna get wrecked early on because that's how the races have been going. So, I don't know. Don't know what's after that. Check.
It'll be Charlotte.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I'll definitely run Charlotte then.
Yes, I was gonna say it's sponsored by Life of a Sim Racer, so you gotta be there. You've already been on the channel, so yeah, you gotta be there, man. I personally feel like Charlotte is going to be the race of the year. Usually Charlotte provides multi-groove, so you can move around. You got your bottom, middle, and your high. I think Charlotte's gonna be a blast, but again, it's probably just because I'm sponsoring the race. But I still think it's gonna be a blast. But yeah, Darlington, yeah. The shifting in 3 and 4, I'm not really looking forward to that. But I did run a couple of us on the team did run a practice or an NIS race. It's okay, I guess. If I could, I would say skip it as well. If I could skip it, I would. But I can't because I need to run it. So, but 6. How do you feel about Darlington, buddy?
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I embrace Darlington.
Oh God, what the hell? Who embraces Darlington?
I like a track that it's kind of reminds me of Dover. You race the track. Darlington's the same way. You race the track, not really the competitors. It is one of those tracks that keeps you on your toes for sure, especially how close you got to run to the wall. the shifting thing, like you were saying, I'm not a big fan of, and I thought it was just going to be like an iRacing thing. But as we saw today in qualifying, they were doing the same thing. So I kind of wish we didn't have this gear now.
Yep. When I saw that in practice, I was like, oh shit, they doing it in real life too? Well, can't say it's not realistic now. That's what they're doing. I'm like, come on. But you know, it is what it is. You know, we gotta do what we gotta do if that's what's required. So.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying with the NIS that we did, after that race, I actually felt really good. I think if we get long runs at Darlington, which might happen, might not. I guess it depends if we wreck enough cars out early enough.
Yeah.
It might happen, but if we do get a long run, I feel very confident.
Okay.
I mean, based off NIS, my long run pace was pretty stout. So.
Yeah, you were definitely fast. I definitely was not. But yeah, I guess for me, for Darlington, I guess in order for me to prepare, you know, doing that race was one of the things that you know, we did. Like I said, we did the NIS race to prepare for Darlington, just to kind of get an idea of what it does in the long run. And even though it wasn't caution filled, but you know, there was enough to kind of break it up, you know, where we feel like we needed the long runs. I still feel like it could produce a good race if everybody's respectful. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier.
Well, everyone's going to have to be patient with this car. I mean, the set gets tight eventually, but you got to get to that point. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to have... Early on, I'm pretty sure. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be similar to Dover. I mean, we'll probably have a bunch of wrecks early, and then once people settle in, go green.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I'm just not looking forward to Darlington, because I try not to be negative toward, especially when going into the next race, but it's so hard not to be negative when you don't like something. I know everybody says, hey, think positive thoughts, you'll have positive, what is it? Positive thoughts produces positive results. I'm sorry, I'm calling BS on that, because that didn't always happen, okay? I don't know who came up with that shit, but it's not consistent.
You're going to have positive thoughts for this track, because we have it for race 1 in the playoffs.
You're just a Debbie Downer. You know, you could have left that shit out. Like, nobody cares, okay? Nobody was even thinking that far ahead. I'm just trying to focus on the next day of track.
Hey, I mean, when I got 3 wins, I'm already thinking playoffs, so...
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you have 3 wins. I have none. The rest of the team has none. And we're just, you know, trying to figure out how we can, ride on your coattails until we get to the playoffs. But no, I'm joking. We're not doing that. But I don't know. It's Darlington. You know, it is what it is. It is definitely a challenging track. I will definitely say that, especially with this car and the setup. So we'll see what happens. You know, hopefully the team can you know, have a good run. Hopefully the race in general will be great to watch, because in my opinion, that plays a factor as well. You know, when you go back and watch the replay or go watch the broadcast, was it, you know, entertaining? You know, if it's not entertaining, then, you know, why even put that much effort into it? Or why even watch it at all? And some of us have sponsors, and the sponsors want entertainment. You know, they just don't want boring races. So I can go on for days, so I'm not going to really get into that. But, that's pretty much it. So I definitely have to thank our sponsors, which is Digital-Motorsports. If you have not, please go on their website. Any type of sim racing gear. They even have turnkey computer setups with the chassis and the wheel. Like, you literally get everything you need from Digital-Motorsports. They can ship it to you. And they're a great sponsor to work with. They have some awesome deals on some of their products as well, from some of the top high end gear to some of the low gear. So it'll fit anything you need. They basically got it for you. Gotta thank Elwood Designs, which is basically our Keeping It Real's not sponsors, but dedicated painter, I should say. And he has painted some of our, especially our throwbacks, our main schemes as well. So if you need your paint scheme done or any type of scheme done, please go check him out on Twitter. Just type in Elwood Designs and he should come up, and put in your request and he should be able to help you out. Battle Beaver, another awesome sponsor, as they create gaming console controllers, whether it's PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, you name it, they got it. You need a gamepad to do something else other than racing, Call of Duty. That's really the only shooting game that comes to mind right now. There's plenty of other games I know, but I can't think of them right now. But you need a custom controller, go check them out. They're also on Twitter. Look up Battle Beaver or Google battlebeaver.com and you'll be able to take a look there. Boosted is also a great sponsor as well, because if you need a website made, they can help you out as well. Great sponsor as well. And then, of course, my team sponsors us as well, because it's my team. It's just how things work. But gotta definitely thank Liam for coming in as our special guest this week. It has been awesome to have you tonight, buddy. Is there anybody you want to thank before we head out?
Yeah, I gotta thank some guys on the Road to Pro side. All the guys at Nexus Esports. Way too many people to name, so I'll just leave it at that.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. We got Cosman at Splash and Go. He does my Road to Pro trucks, so kind of team painter / driver / whatever. So yeah, he paints my stuff over there. So
Okay.
check out Splash and Go Graphics for all your painting needs. And V Speed, they sponsor me in Road to Pro, so I got the if you have a event that you need to broadcast, go to vspeed.com. They will get you set up there. So yeah. Other than that, I gotta thank you for having me on. Definitely a nice way to spend the night. Yeah.
Alright. Well, you're quite welcome, sir. You're welcome back anytime. Like I said, it's been great having you on. It's definitely always great to have a different perspective when you're looking at, these cautions, because it's honestly, it kind of gets stale sometimes when it's just me and Six, because we kind of already know like our thoughts, like what we're already going to do. But with having a third person or somebody as a special guest, it kind of gives you just a different perspective, and you're like, huh, okay, well, I haven't looked at it that way, or I didn't think about it that way. So like I said, anytime, man, just let us know, and we can definitely bring you back and have a great time like we have tonight. Six, got anybody you want to thank before you go, sir?
Yeah, I gotta thank obviously you for having me as usual, and thank the channel for being my main sponsor on the car, and then thank Liam for joining us tonight. It was a lot of fun.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for us. Thanks everybody for listening, for watching. This is a little bit longer video or podcast, however you want to look at it, video cast, however you want to look at it. But this is probably how long it's going to be from now on. It allows us to give you guys more information, more views, more drama. Depends on how you want to look at it. But it just allows us to have a great time, and that's basically what we had tonight. So thanks again for watching. Hope you guys stay safe. Take it easy. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.